Hi boys and girls, welcome back to art. Today we're going to be creating an ostrich, and we're going to be using some of our cool and our warm colors here to create it. We're also going to be using oil pastels. If you don't have oil pastels, you are going to be using crayons, but if you're using crayons, I would recommend using a white piece of paper. Those of you using oil pastels, we're going to be using a black piece of construction paper and our oil pastels on here with our cool and our warm colors. So let's get started. Right, so what we're going to be doing today is we're not going to be using the black paper today. That's going to be next week when we create our cool and warm colors in our bird. Today we're going to start off making our eyes and our beak. So I actually am going to make that on a separate paper. This is a 9x12 paper, but I've actually cut it in half. This is nice drawing paper. You can use just plain white paper because we're not using wet materials, we're just using oil pastels. So I've also provided this template online for you in your folder. So if you need to use this, but if not, you can also cut the eye out and use it to trace and cut this to trace on your own, or if you wanted to use this and just print it off, you can do that as well. So what my kiddos in the classroom are going to do is I'm going to give them a template that looks like this, and they are going to use a pencil to trace around the eye. And so I'm using a Sharpie right now, boys and girls, to show you where you can see the lines. So again, I'm just going to use the template. If you can draw this on your own, you are more than welcome, or if you want to change the eye shape, you can. I found this lesson when I was looking through Pinterest. I kind of changed it up a little bit to make it kind of our own. But now you notice I have the eye on this side, but in order to make my other eye, I actually need to flip this so that it's upside down, and I'm going to create another eye so that way my eyes are symmetrical. That means they are the same size when I'm drawing my artwork. So I'm going to go ahead and trace both eyes. And again, if you want to use this as your template and cut it out, you can. If you are deciding you just want to print it, you can do that as well, but then you're not going to be able to use that nice nice paper as opposed to printer paper. So when I'm drawing my beak, I just kind of create like a little curved line, so it looks kind of like a hill. That's how I created mine. And then over here, I just kind of create a curved line like this. And so I'm going to do my best to try to create that on this side, and then I just kind of connect those two lines. The next thing I'm going to do is just make a curved line underneath like this, and this is going to create my beak. I also come in and add two little diagonal lines in here like this. So on the inside of my eyes, you can see that I have like some black dot, the pupil inside the eye. So I want to create this pupil right here so I can leave that open. So what I did is I start about right here on the eye, and I create a circle as best as I can. And so now what I want to do is on this one is kind of create it the same size. I know he looks kind of angry right now, but I also create two little ovals or dots on the inside so that it shows kind of a highlight or a reflection in my eye. So now the next thing I want to do is I want to color the inside of my eye. And so I was playing with two different ways of how I did that when I was doing these eyes, but this is oil pastels on the inside. Do not color in the black right now. We're only going to do the color in the iris of the eye right now for the ostrich. So what I want you to do is you're going to be using a color wheel, and I will put a color wheel on there for you to use. I have this little handy color wheel, and what I did is I chose 3 colors that I wanted that were all next to each other, and those are called analogous colors, kind of like neighbors. So like these two are analogous because they are next to each other. So I actually chose yellow, green, and green to color in my eyes when I did this one. So this time I'm going to choose a little bit different when I do mine. I'm going to choose 3 shades of blue. So I have light blue, a medium blue, and let me see if I can find a dark blue, and a darker blue in oil pastel. And if you're not sure what colors they are, I would test on the back so you're not smearing your hand into your colors, and see if those kind of colors look good together. So I'm going to use those 3 together. And you can see here that I have my light, my medium, and my darker, more indigo color in here. So I'm going to use those 3 colors that are next to each other, analogous colors. So when I do this, I'm going to actually start with my darker color on the outside. So that's my darker blue right here, and I'm actually going to color in my eye. These are going to be cut out, so if you're worried about and another thing I do when I'm using my oil pastels is I keep my hands up. I'm not rubbing it through my artwork. So I'm using the darker color on the outside of my eye. I'm inside the lines, but I'm using a darker color on the outside, and I'm coloring in, and I'm not going in different directions either. Notice that my coloring is all going towards the pupil in my eye. This is my pupil. This is what we actually see out of boys and girls, and that's where light comes into the eye. So we're gonna color towards that, and I'm gonna color dark, and then I'm gonna take some of this, and I'm not gonna color quite so dark. I'm not gonna press down so hard. I'm gonna color lighter, and you can see here that I'm coloring lighter than I was right here. So I'm gonna finish coloring some of that in, not all of it, because then I want to be able to blend in with my next color. So I'm going to put that one back, and now I've got my medium one, which is going to go in the middle, and I'm going to come over and I'm going to blend in those colors, and I'm going to color on top of where I just colored in light, coming in here and doing that so that my colors blend in really nice. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to color lighter right up almost to the end of that where my pupil is, making it a lighter color there, so that I can take my lighter blue and I can go in and I can color in and blend in those colors. I'm not coloring into my pupil right now. I'm leaving that white. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not even going to mess with it. But see, now you can see the different colors in my eye right now. Now I've got a blue eye, and now I need to actually do the same thing. So I'm going to make sure I use the same colors, my light, my medium, and my dark, and I'm going to create the outside again where I use my dark, then my light. And if you're not sure again how to do that, boys and girls, go back and rewind what you've been asked to do so that you can rewind it and pause it and make sure that you're following along with what you're supposed to be doing. So I finished up the eyes. Notice I have not done the pupil yet. I'm gonna leave that alone for right now and do that last actually, so that I'm not taking and smearing my black in there. Also, one of the things you don't want to do with oil pastels is you don't want to sweep away stuff, because then you will smear your oil pastels. They're very soft and will smear easily. That's also why I keep my fingers off. Like when I'm working on something, I keep my fingers in areas that are around the art, not in the art, so that I don't mess it up. So now I'm gonna actually do my beak. And if you notice within this beak, I do have more than one color. I didn't just use one color to do that. So if you notice here, I still have some analogous colors here. I have yellow, yellow, orange, and orange. So if you look here, yellow, yellow, orange, orange, and this is red, orange, red. So I'm using analogous colors again, colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. I'm going to use my yellow on the top. I've started coloring with my yellow, but I actually want to go in and do my dark first and go to my light. So I am going to go in and add my darker areas, and I'm going to add my orange first. I'm going to add some on the bottom of the beak underneath where it kind of casts a shadow on it. And then I'm going to use my medium orange. Actually, I want to go in and add just my light areas. Sorry. And so that way I can really blend in those colors, just really lightly coloring that orange in. And then I'm going to go in and add some of my yellow orange on top of that, so that I can really blend in those colors really nice. Make sure you're not leaving any white space, boys and girls. We want to make sure our artwork looks like it's finished. See, notice my hands are not in my eyes. I'm trying to make sure that I'm keeping them up off so that I don't smear my artwork. I know we're cutting these out, but we still want to try to keep them nice. And again, you're going to color some light so that you can add in your yellow on top of that. And then you're going to take your light color and add on top of that light area of your orange, yellow orange. and then I'm going to color in the bottom of my beak. So now I've got, so I go from dark to light. I mean, it is kind of a preference, but I like to work from dark to light. I feel like it blends better. So that's done. I'm actually going to color in now the pupils of my eye now that I've finished with my color. Black is a very powerful color, and if you get it into spots and it doesn't come off so easily, so really make sure again that you're keeping your hand up and that you're not putting your fingers into your artwork. So again, I'm keeping my fingers off to the side here, but I am going to press down and get some of those nice rich black into there, and outlining my artwork. Again, you do not want to wipe it away because it will smear in, and black will kind of take over what you've done and smear it into your artwork. So please just be careful with that, boys and girls. Crayons can do the same thing. They're not as bad as oil pastels, but they can smear as well. So I'm just very neatly coming in, and when a lot of times I'll just kind of do like this with my paper when I want to get some of that off of there. And now I'm going to go ahead and color this other pupil. Finished our eyes and our beak. That's going to be what we're finishing off today. Next week we will come back and we will work on putting our bird together. You might notice that I do have eyelashes on them because ostriches do have these big long eyelashes. Please don't put those on today. We're going to put them on when we put them onto the bird, because you're not going to try to cut out and stuff. So leave those off. We are done with our eyes and our beak. Keep this safe somewhere, so don't cut them out right now. Just keep them safe somewhere where we can work on it again next week. Bye, guys.